After being in real estate for over 7 years, I was thinking about it, and there's actually only really one thing that I can really point out as the biggest lesson that I have learned. So stay tuned to find out what that is. What's going on, everyone? I'm Loida with Team BC at eXp Realty. I have been in the business for over 7 years. I started in real estate and I pretty much built everything that I did through cold calling and door knocking. Maybe this is the first video that you are watching of me, or maybe you have been watching my journey all of these years. And like I said, there's really one thing that I can point out as being the biggest lesson that I have learned all of this time, and that is, are you ready for it? Patience. I feel that out of everything, patience is the biggest thing that has been both a learning experience and something that I have been able to work on and continuously am working on. Now, what do I mean by patience? Because you're probably thinking, well, I'm pretty sure that contracts are hard and working with people is hard. The reason that I say patience is because I have learned to be patient with my clients, with vendors, with myself, with my team, with so many different people in different levels. There's different levels of patience that until you are in this business and you're going through transactions, you're going to really be able to figure out and see if you really are patient or not. Your patience is going to be tested so many times. So let's begin with clients. The way that you need to have patience with clients is that there will be those that are just so difficult to work with. They take forever to sign documents. They take forever to respond. Sometimes they start freaking out, but because they have never gone through a real estate transaction, it's a huge deal to them. So being patient with them, being able to hold their hand and walk them through the process and let them know that everything's going to be okay and I'm your real estate agent and I'm here for you, that is just one thing. Patience with other agents. I can't tell you how many times, sometimes I have tried to reach out to another agent and they just don't answer, they don't text, sometimes they freak out or get all emotional in a transaction, and it just makes everything so much worse because now you're dealing with the emotions of people that maybe they're saying things that they don't really mean, but they get all emotional and you have to be patient to not let it get to you. Patience when there are things that come up that are completely outside of your control. Now, I was recently talking about this in the TBC show, one of the latest episodes, and I recently was under contract. I'm representing the seller. The buyer's agent had been on me for so many days regarding how bad his client wanted this property. We were going back and forth with counters and terms and price and all that. Long story short, we ended up accepting their offer. A day goes by, no deposit. 2 days go by, no deposit. I'm blowing up the agent. Escrow's blowing up the agent. The agent saying, hey, my buyer's gonna send the deposit. Long story short, I end up getting a text message from this buyer's agent telling me that their client changed their mind, that they wanna live closer to another city that's actually 30 miles away. So anyway, long story short, being patient in situations like this, where you go above and beyond to try to make a deal happen for your client so that they are happy and everything works out for everyone, but then the other party decides to back out. I mean, if you haven't gone through it, hopefully you never do, but chances are at some point it's gonna happen. And again, these are things that are just outside of your control, and you just have to be patient that everything is gonna work out. Everything's gonna work out at the end of the day. So in my case, I had to go back on the market. I had to go to my seller and tell her, hey, you know what? The buyer ended up changing their mind. And now she's looking at me like, what is this, a joke? And it is, it really is. You know, I kind of laugh because at the end of the day, when situations like this happen, it's funny because I'm pretty sure that that agent was now in a really awkward position, having to reach out to me, telling me that, you know, their client backed out. And then now I have to go to my seller and tell her, hey, you know, I know that we've been negotiating back and forth the last 3 days, but actually they're not serious and they're canceling. And it just makes us all look bad. The next one, being patient with myself, especially in the beginning when I was new. I know that if you're newer in the business and you haven't done a lot of deals, you're probably making phone calls, maybe you're hitting doors, maybe you're prospecting and trying to generate leads and nothing is happening and you're becoming impatient. So being patient in the sense that knowing that if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, eventually you're going to see results. That's something again that I learned. I remember way in the beginning, I was making all of these phone calls and talking to people. I was getting these leads, but I wasn't really setting any appointments or getting any listings. And it was really annoying. At one point, I felt that maybe, what if I'm just not good enough? Or what if this field is not even for me? But what ended up changing everything for me is when I took a different perspective as to how I was looking at things. So instead of focusing on the negative as to how I wasn't able to get any deals as of that point, I started to focus on how much better I was getting with my communication, how I was able to weed out whether someone was an actual serious buyer or seller, or if they were just what I like to call tire kickers, that they're not really serious and they're just a waste of time. At that point, I also had all of my scripts memorized. So I was getting better little by little. And again, I knew that I had to be patient. So the whole reason that I wanted to make this video is because, recently I have been going through some situations with certain transactions and clients, and it has made me realize that patience is key, especially when you're working with people, because there's so many different personalities. Everyone is going through something different, and you just have to be patient and know that some things are just going to be outside of your control. And not just that, but you have to be able to control your emotions. So hopefully this helps. Maybe you have been in the business for a long time and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you're new or if you're thinking about getting into real estate, just know that your patience will be tested. But at the end of the day, these are all things that we overcome and that we get better at. And in turn, it allows us to just be better agents overall. So that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with someone else, and I'll see you on the next one.